22 past 6. What a thrill it has been all year, and joining us for our final chat of 2022, it is none other than Jeff Payne and Peter Bragg from Behaviour Works Australia, part of the Monash Sustainable Development Institute, who all year have taken us through some psychology, some science, some feelings, but today we're finishing up really where it all begins, which is the heady world of nostalgia. Hello, Peter. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
Good morning. That tune takes me back to episode 1. Way back in July.
Way back.
My gosh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It does feel like a decade ago.
Well,
I mean, do you remember January this year? We're all
shy.
We're scouring the pharmacies for rats. It's been a long year.
That's exactly right. We were all putting things up our nose and dropping things into small containers and presenting them at work to say, I can get in.
Actually, this generation will have that pre-COVID, post-COVID nostalgia. Remember before we didn't have to wear masks?
There will be a time when people in masks go, I remember that time. We will be nostalgic.
Will it be a warm, fuzzy feeling,
I
Jeff?
don't know. I don't know.
Why do we feel nostalgia?
It's a really interesting question, Sammy. And actually, I'm going to take you back to 1688 when a doctor whose name I can't remember.
The first series of Neighbours.
The first series of Neighbours. Very good, Jeff. The Swiss are fighting the French, and they observe homesickness in the field. And actually, for people who are fans of word origins, nostalgia, nostos, return to the native land, and algos, suffering or grief. So they used to think it was a disorder.
Oh my gosh.
Because the people who were fighting were homesick, and they had all these, physical symptoms, physical manifestations like the ones we feel when we feel nostalgic. And it's only in the last probably 20 or 30 years that people have realised that nostalgia is actually an adaptive psychological strategy for combating, feelings of sadness or, not enjoying the present so much.
How is it beneficial, other than just making you feel a bit glum or a bit wistful or a bit old?
Well, when I was driving in this morning, I was smiling the whole way, listening to everyone's stories of the songs they used to listen to and your camping experience. So it definitely boosts mood in the moment, boosts mood and boosts self-esteem, because usually you're the star of your own nostalgia. It's all about you, the people you were close to, the events, the holidays.
Yeah, but you're the main character in the movie.
You
exactly.
are the main character.
It's you. And I'll be moulded to your scully here to say nostalgia is warm, but it's also dangerous.
Why?
Because it takes us back to this false feeling of a time. Everything in that time was good. And unfortunately, as we know in politics, if people say we can be something again, we start believing that we can go backwards. And of course we can't. So you'll forgive anything. For me, it's Pet Shop Boys. I couldn't stand it in the 80s. Now I'll sing along. So the warmth of nostalgia forgives the past.
Does that intersect with humans' capacity to better understand complexity as they get older? Like maybe the Pet Shop Boys were never as bad as you thought they were, but it's taken time and distance for you to appreciate that.
That is probably the case, and you will note that political adversaries, as they age, get less snippy with each other, less competitive.
Suddenly Whitlam and Fraser became best friends in their dotage.
So
the philosophy of it is existential meaning. So, what's life all about? What are the things that connect us and bind us together as a society? And often it's the music, the experiences, the doing a wee while cleaning your teeth. I mean, these are the things of life, Sammy.
If anyone is unsure of the reference Peter Bragg is making, that was Lachlan Mayne in 1998 being caught by Miss Gill at Glenmaggie school camp doing a wee whilst brushing his teeth.
No, I was
I'm
just talking
impressed
about
with the
morning.
multi-skilling, though, there. Really.
Well, so was she. And
Yeah.
that's what it went down in legend. He was still meant to be in his cabin.
So he was breaking the rules.
Yes.
And multitasking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what can we gain from it in terms of, this is classic modern day life. What can I get from nostalgia? How can I use it to better my life? Or is it's just present?
Well, 4 out of 5 people experience nostalgia, on a weekly or by, once a week or once a fortnight. So a lot of the time it pops into your head. So you're just triggered by that song or that smell, as we've been hearing. But sometimes when people are feeling a little bit down, they like to think about the good times and, what we used to do together, and that connection to the past and that connection to each other can actually be therapeutic. So it's like a lot of phenomenon, it started out as a disorder because people didn't understand it. And now it's like, actually nostalgia's pretty handy.
And I would say that we just have to be careful about the past and just remember there was a time when it seems nice, but we all smoked. So people didn't live as long. Playgrounds were dangerous. I know people are nostalgic for playgrounds,
Captain Scrooge here.
I'm just saying
There
you've
is
got to
a-
be real careful.
There's a danger of wallowing. That's what I think I've found, because it's a fine line between really enjoying sinking into an album for 45 minutes of feeling young again, then just to start bordering on regrets or questions of where your life's going or who you are, and you've got to.
It's definitely something for dipping into. You might have to explain to your listeners what an album is, by the way. I was actually
simple times.
remembering when you talked about the Discman. I was remembering when I went to Europe 24 years ago. I bought a Discman in Malaysia, but when I left home, I had to select 10 CDs to travel with, and the young people wouldn't know about that now because it's all MP3.
Oh,
but
yeah, that's right.
imagine that. Imagine having to select.
Yeah.
When I travelled, I bought the 64 CD wallet, so you can flip through. And
64.
yeah, I had it all lined up.
I had a car with a 6 CD stacker.
Oh.
Just imagine.
I remember I think a friend's dad had one of those, and like you had to wait a minute for the machinery to physically insert.
Yeah, all of that.
Look at us. Look at us. We're smiling
Getting
like schoolboys because we're
nostalgic.
talking about nostalgic moments.
So
It's
I-
doing its thing.
I just think we need to remind ourselves
Oh.
there was a time that the past is warm and glorious. I've got to tell people about this sometimes when it comes to Neighbours, the TV show. There
Yep.
was a glorious warm time, but it wasn't all.
It was
like
all
that.
hard. It was hard work.
Yeah.
Well, just that we can get wallow, and
Yeah.
then we can lose the present. Wait, there's a world now that we have to come back to.
There were other times, when Neighbours was just some goose running around in a gorilla suit, for
That's
example.
exactly.
It
That's
wasn't all
all
Carly
it
and
was.
Jason.
That's all it was.
You boys have been so much fun and so illuminating all year. What a perfect way to end 2022 talking nostalgia in this way. Jeff Payne, Peter Bragg, have a wonderful Christmas ahead.
You do too, and
Same
do
to you.
something nostalgic at Christmas. We
I
can
will.
get through those Christmas carols together.
We can. Custard, brandy, pudding,
Hot food on a hot
Old
day.
Lang Syne.
the whole lot. Listeners, that's our nostalgia science behaviour deep dive.